Hey everyone, Knowledge here with a comparison video going over the Altra Olympus 4, Altra Mont Blanc, and the Altra Lone Peak 6. Alright, so those of you who follow this channel or have seen my videos on this channel know that I'm a big fan of Altra footwear, most specifically the Lone Peak shoe. The Lone Peak I've worn for several years now. It's been my go-to for backpacking trips, through hikes, paddling trips, cycling, and everything in between. I just love the zero drop platform. I love the foot-shaped toe box that Altra's really well known for over the years. Their shoes are just very comfortable for me, and I've had a great experience with them. But I'm always in pursuit of the next best thing, trying to see if something is just a little bit better with all of my backpacking gear and also my footwear. You know, there might be something else out there that I haven't tried yet that really piques my interest. So with that, I have worn a lot of other Altra footwear on various trips and through hikes, just to see how they've held up, how they performed, if they were just a little bit better than the Lone Peak. And so that's what kind of led me to this video. I thought this video would be a lot of fun, showing you a comparison of some of the shoes that I'm going to be wearing this year. And this is just going to give you a little bit more of an idea of the fit of each of them. We're going to compare them as far as their similarities and also go over their differences. And I'm going to go over the good and the bad of each and close this video off with what is my current favorite shoe for 2022. So the Altra Olympus 4 is going to be one of the burliest max cushion shoes that Altra offers. It has a stack height of 33 millimeters off the ground. If you're familiar with any Hoka shoes, this is going to be Altra's Hoka. Along with that 33 millimeter stack height, the shoe does still have the zero drop platform. It also has the foot-shaped toe box. It is going to be one of the higher price shoes that Altra offers, coming in at $170. And I wear a men's size 11. My size 11 men's Altra Olympus 4s weigh 24.4 ounces on my scale. Starting with the outsole of the shoe, the Altra Olympus 4 uses a Vibram Mega Grip rubber compound on the outsole. The shoe does not have a rock plate built in because of the thick stack height. The midsole is going to be made out of Altra's A-bound technology, and the upper is a really nice woven mesh, very durable. The laces are going to be very thin. There is a gator hook on the front and a Velcro gator trap on the back heel underneath the pull tab. The heel cup of the shoe is going to be pretty vertical. The whole inner of the shoe is very well cushioned. The tongue of the shoe doesn't have a lot of padding. So these are all things to consider with looking at this shoe. The Mont Blanc is going to be in the middle of the other two shoes in this video in terms of stack height. So the stack height with the Mont Blanc is going to be 30 millimeters, just a couple under the Olympus 4. Still retains the zero drop platform and the foot-shaped toe box. This is another one of the higher cost shoes that Altra has on the market, and this is relatively new to the market. The total cost for the Altra Mont Blanc is $180, and on my scale, a men's size 11 weighs 21.2 ounces. The outsole of the Mont Blanc is going to be made up of a Vibram light base rubber compound. Very lightweight, but still giving you similar traction to a lot of other Vibram rubbers out there. There's also no rock plate in the Mont Blanc. And the midsole is made up of Altra's Ego Max cushion. The upper is going to be made up of a really nice mesh with some TPU overlays in the back around the heel and the midfoot, and very minimal padding. The laces are going to be pretty thick, a little bit thicker than what you get on the Olympus 4. There is no gator hook on the front of the shoe. You need to use the laces to secure the front of the gator, but there is a Velcro trap in the back heel, very similar to the Olympus 4, right underneath the heel pull tab. The heel cup of this is also going to be pretty vertical. There is no padding in the tongue, and there is very minimal padding inside of the shoe overall. It's a lot more of the mesh than anything else. And the Lone Peak 6 is going to be the most minimal shoe of this video, but not the most minimal that Altra offers. The stack height for this compared to the Mont Blanc and Olympus 4 is going to be 25 millimeters. Still has the zero drop platform and the wide foot-shaped toe box. There is a rock plate with the Lone Peak 6 that's fused into the shoe. Total cost for the Lone Peak 6 is $130. So it is a bit more reasonable than the other two. And the total weight on my scale for a men's size 11 is 20.6 ounces for the pair. The rubber compound of the Lone Peak 6 is using Altra's Max Track lug system and tread pattern, so it is a different rubber compound. It doesn't have the Vibram. The midsole is going to be using Altra's Ego midsole cushion, and the upper is a little bit thicker, a little bit more durable and abrasion resistant. It feels almost and looks almost more like a ripstop nylon, and there are some reinforcements around the upper as well as drain ports, which you don't get with the other two shoes. The laces are very thick and have a lot more texture to it compared to the other two shoes in this video. There is not a gator hook in the front, and there is a Velcro trap in the back of the shoe on the heel just underneath the pull tab. All right, getting into the fit of the shoes, starting with the Olympus 4. Altra has 3 different tiers of width for their fit. This is going to be the widest of the 3, known as the original fit. The shoe is going to be very roomy. I don't find my toes jamming in the front of the shoe at all. I find I'm able to get a really good natural toe splay. My longest toe is not touching the front of the shoe at all. I have a lot of room. Find the midfoot to be pretty secure, just slightly loose enough to be comfortable but still snug. And the heel, I do find my heel to slide up and down a little bit, but I am able to lock it in by cranking down on the laces or doing a runner's knot with the shoe. The fit with the Mont Blanc is going to be a little bit different. It does use what Altra refers to as the standard fit. So this fit is a little narrower than the original fit with the Olympus 4, and I find that to be very true. I find this shoe to be very snug. With the upper being mesh, it does allow for a little bit more width, a little bit more comfort and flexibility. So I don't feel a lot of pressure with this shoe. It still fits very comfortably, but it is a little bit more snug. The wide foot shaped toe box, I haven't had any issues with rubbing or friction. I have plenty of room in the front of my longest toe and the edge of the front of the shoe where I'm not running into any issues with jamming against the shoe or bruising any nails or anything like that. The midfoot is very secure, and I know that I'm probably an anomaly. I've seen a lot of different experiences and feedback and reviews of this shoe on other channels and online in general in reference to the heel cup. I find the heel cup to be very secure with my heel. I haven't had any slippage. It's been nice and snug, and I don't really need to crank down on the laces too much. I still feel that my heel is nice and secure and locked in this shoe. So I'm more of an oddball as far as that goes, but I find this to be very form-fitting with my foot shape. And the Lone Peak 6, This uses the similar fit of the Olympus 4, the original fit, so it has a similar width to the Olympus 4. These two would be the closest in comparison versus the Mont Blanc. So the midfoot is going to be pretty roomy, very spacious. I find this to be the loosest actually of the three shoes. The forefoot has lots of room, very, very spacious. No toe jamming in the front of the shoe because I do have plenty of room from my longest toe to the edge of the shoe. The heel is going to be angled a little bit more. So even though it does feel a little bit wider versus the other two shoes in this video, it does keep everything locked in and secure just because of that slight slant. The Lone Peak 6, for me, it almost feels like just sliding on a slipper. It is that comfortable. All right, so now that we went over the specs and the fit, let's get right into the good of each shoe, and then we'll get into the bad of each shoe, at least in my experience. So the Altra Olympus 4 is a rock solid shoe. I have over hundreds of miles with the Olympus 4 on backpacking trips. It's held up really well up in the White Mountains in New Hampshire, in Vermont, in the Green Mountains on the Long Trail, on the AT. It is just a really comfortable, good long distance shoe. And that is where I feel the shoe excels. With that max cushion, hard packed dirt, desert, gravel, or even really long pavement road walks, this shoe will be able to handle it all. It is very comfortable, excellent for long distances. I even ended up using this shoe in the 2021 Allegheny 100. And this shoe helped me out immensely. The shoe dries very quickly. It is very comfortable. It breathes well. I haven't had any blisters inside of this shoe. The tread is very, very grippy on roots and rocks, even on wet terrain. Overall, just a really good shoe. So the Mont Blanc is relatively new to the market, so I don't have a lot of mileage with this shoe yet. I have used it on backpacking trip and I've taken it out on a couple of trail runs. So I only have about 30 miles with the shoe so far. This shoe feels very comfortable on the backpacking trip that I used it on and on my trail runs. The light base on the bottom is very grippy. I find it to be very similar to the Mega Grip, but the fact that it's lighter in weight and still offering that type of traction with roots and rocks and wet terrain, it's excellent. Sheds mud really well. Most of the upper does dry very quickly in wet terrain, but I have found that some of this shoe does hold on to water a little bit longer than the Olympus 4 does, but it still breathes really well. The shoe is very nimble, very stable, and very light, which I really like. And the Lone Peak 6, this is a great all-around shoe. It doesn't excel at any one particular thing, but it does everything relatively well. This is why I think this shoe has become a thru hiker favorite over the last several years. You go out on any trail, you are most likely going to see hikers wearing the Lone Peak shoes. It's just become one of the standards of the trail. So the Max Track Tread, it works pretty well. It's very tough to beat a Vibram compound in my opinion. So the traction is going to be a little bit more subpar compared to the other two, but it still can hold its own. It works well with roots and rocks and wet terrain. I have over thousands of miles with the Lone Peak shoe. This is very, very comfortable. It does dry very quickly. I love the drain ports in the front. They do drain any water that might get into the shoe a lot quicker than the Olympus or the Mont Blanc. I feel the shoe is more like a slipper. It's very, very comfortable under the foot. This shoe with the rock plate built in, it does give me really good stone protection and protection from roots and rocks, anything gnarly. I've had these shoes up in the White Mountains and really rugged terrain, Vermont, on the AT. I also used the Lone Peak 4 on the Allegheny 100 a couple of years back, this has just been my go-to shoe. Now the bad. So there's very little that I can say about the Olympus 4 where I feel it kind of falls short. And these are just minor gripes of mine. So one being the laces. I feel the laces are very thin. Yes, it's a very quick change that I can do just by pulling them out and putting something else in. But I wanted to see how they would hold up over time. I feel that I'd like if they were a little bit thicker, but it's not a deal breaker for me, just a very minor gripe of mine. One of my bigger gripes is the really thick cushion, and that's something that you just need to be willing to compromise with this shoe. I really love the ground feel that you get with a minimal cushion shoe. I love that connection to the outdoors, and it corrects my gait. It makes me feel very, very comfortable and connected while I'm out there. And I feel like a little bit of that is taken away with the thicker stack height of the Olympus 4. Now, this is still going to be very beneficial when I'm doing longer distances compared to a shoe like the Lone Peak. And my last minor gripe with the Altra Olympus, it's a little beefy, so it is a little bit clunky. It's still a very stable shoe, feel very comfortable in it, but it does feel a little clunky. So at the end of a really long day, if I'm pushing 20 plus miles, 25, 30, even more, you feel really tired. No matter how great a shoe or how fit you are, you just feel tired. And I feel that on occasion it might be a little more difficult for me to lift my foot up with something so big compared to the other shoes compared to this. The Mont Blanc is very, very light. I feel that this shoe is a nice alternative to the Olympus 4, so far anyway. The Ego Max is just very responsive. I get good energy return. It's got a good amount of bounce to it, a good amount of support compared to the slightly stiffer feel of the Olympus 4. My gripes with this shoe, I don't really have any yet. The padding, I don't know where it's going to lead me as I get more and more mileage. I can see that possibly becoming a minor gripe. Just if I'm doing long mileage, is that really going to pack out and cause hot spots or cause any discomfort if I am trying to do 25, 30 miles plus backpacking? This is more a race-oriented shoe, not so much hiking or backpacking. It's just something that really piqued my interest and I wanted to apply it to that type of activity. So we'll see how it works out. At the moment, the one that I would really have is the quick dry time. It's definitely a little bit slower with this shoe than it is with the other two. The top of the shoe does tend to bend out a little bit, so I can see some debris getting into there. I haven't experienced that yet, but I had noticed it kind of fold out a little bit when I was wearing it. The mesh is really nice. How long this holds up over time, I don't know. I could see it possibly blowing out a little sooner than the Olympus or the Lone Peak for me, just because it is a little bit more of a snug fit. Not a lot of minor gripes or the bad at the moment with this shoe. We'll see if that changes over time. And the bad with the Lone Peak 6, there are a couple of things. The Lone Peak is still one of my favorite shoes, but that's not to say that it is absolutely perfect. So you can get a little bit of slipping with this shoe. It's not as grippy as the Vibram Light Base or the Vibram Mega Grip on the other two. Maybe they'll put Vibram on the bottom of the Lone Peak at some point. That would be excellent. The shoe also can be a little sloppy depending on the technical difficulty of the terrain that you're on. With the other two, I find that they're a little more form-fitting, a little more snug. So on technical terrain, it can feel a little bit looser, but that's something that I really like. I don't find any discomfort in that. It's just something that I'm a little more aware of when I'm hiking with this shoe. In the past, the Lone Peak had been known to have some delaminating issues with the toe cap. That was addressed with the 5s and it's continued on with the 6. So there is stitching reinforcement with the glued toe cap. I honestly did not experience that with this shoe yet. I didn't experience it with the Lone Peak 5 or the 4.5. I did experience it with the 4, maybe around 125 miles, but I just simply glued it and I never had any issues throughout the rest of that lifespan of 624 miles or so. The other thing that I noticed with the Lone Peak shoe in the past, most specifically the 4, is the midsole packed out prematurely. It was around that same mileage, 125 miles. I haven't noticed that with the 5. I haven't noticed it with the 6. The Ultra Ego is very plush. It's definitely a slightly better feel than the previous midsole compound that was used. No blowouts, fits very comfortably. So out of the 3, what is my current favorite of the Altra shoes that I featured in this video? It is still the Lone Peak shoe. I just really love the natural fit and comfort and feel of the Lone Peak. Gives me a little bit more ground feel than the other 2. Dries very quickly. It's a good all-around shoe. Like I said, it doesn't excel at any one particular thing. It just does everything well. I've been really happy with it. I look forward to putting a lot more mileage on this shoe, and I look forward to putting a lot more mileage on the Olympus 4 and the Mont Blanc. So I hope you found this video helpful. Have any of you been wearing the Lone Peaks, the Olympus, or even have you tried out the new Mont Blanc yet? What's your experience been like with these shoes? Do you have a favorite? Do you have something else that's a favorite or something else that's worked better for you on the trail? What are you using? Leave all of that in a comment below. Or if you have any questions on any of these shoes, you can leave that in a comment below as well. And feel free to contact me at any time at reachyoursummit.net. I'd be happy to help all of you out. I hope that this video demystified things a little bit for you as far as the fit goes and the good and the bad of each of these shoes. If you found any value in this video, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. I'm always adding new content. I just really love making videos for all of you and helping all of you out. I greatly appreciate all of you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments and questions and for watching these videos. So, until the next one, I'll see you on the trail.